Hello, hello. Do you see something right here? It is a cat head. Hello, cat head. Hey, Kevin. Hey, Chef Alden. And hey, unknown user. Wow, that's a very early message on YouTube to have beaten even the bot. Twitch is now rounded except for their search. I haven't seen any UI updates myself, so I don't think I've noticed this. Is it on mobile or is it on desktop too? He'll be streaming in the morning. He still wants to highlight Missy Spooks' video on YouTube. Let's get it from yesterday's command, copy and paste, and then change YouTube to YouTube. Okay. Yeah, so where we left off yesterday was we got this thing to compare versions, but only one tag, so I probably need to test it. Yeah, so let's get this. Also, I know this says Monday. We should just place this for Tuesday. And probably right afternoon for this. And this will go here. And this will go here. Okay, yeah. Cat head biscuits? Is this? Oh, huh. I guess I've seen these, but I didn't know they were called cat head biscuits. Interesting. Desktop. Let's have a look-see. Oh, wait, maybe I have seen this. Yeah. I probably have. Where's the search? Oh, up there. It's rounded on the left side, and it's rounded on the right side, too, which is not rounded there. Yeah, which I guess stands out a bit. Okay, so release tool. We want to run this on the, where's the lookup directory? Right there. Yeah, we want to run this on a fake directory. It's not a capsule like the rest. I guess not, yeah. But I guess just text inputs have that style. Anyway, I've never really gotten it. I think people have, and I'm not saying you're doing this, I think people generally have a knee-jerk reaction to any big enough UI change. And I've seen this happen with so many products now. Originally, it was way back in the day with Facebook, and now it's Discord or it's Reddit or something. And I always just think, some things are different. Maybe some things are worse. Maybe some things are better. But that's it. They made the decision. They're probably not going to change it. Hey, Melzy. All right, so we're going to take this as the working directory, which means I need to tag this fake repo. Let's title this. Yeah, I need to tag this fake repo with better tags, I guess. Can I do git log -2? So how do you untag something? Git tag -- help. Git tag -d is probably it. Yeah, delete. Git tag -d v1.4. Okay, so now if I look at the log, we have no tags here. And what I want to do is I want to tag git tag -a v. So we're gonna pick a low version number and we're gonna tag the current one with it. So let's do 1.2.3 -demo. And then v 1.2.3 -demo. Sure. And then we're going to tag something else with 1.2.1. 2.1 -demo. And then I just type in a commit, I guess. Now I do git log -2. Okay, so I did that wrong. I meant to do with backwards. Whoops. Okay, so let's delete 1.2.3 -demo. Yeah, this is supposed to be an earlier version. So this is 1.2.0. I'll just write V here, it doesn't matter. Okay, now we should finally be in the right scenario. And so the newer one is actually, the newer commit is the older version. So when I point this thing here, it should find this commit, but there's actually, Oh, wait, no, there's no reason for it to find a commit. It just needs to find the version. So yeah, when I run this, it should say the highest tag found is 121. Let's run this. What they did to the mobile app is terrible. I'll have to take a closer look at that. I've been having a lot of little weird problems on my phone. So if you imagine a phone screen looking kind of like that, every once in a while, so the keyboard pops up and there's usually like a text input above the keyboard and there's a send button. For whatever reason, this send button doesn't work until I close my keyboard and it moves down to here. And then I can press it. So it's like the button is working, but this portion of my screen doesn't seem to register that press. I don't know if it's the OS back gesture, that it's more sensitive in the middle of the screen or something, or it's a bug on the, I don't know what. It's probably a bug on the OS level, because I've seen this happen in a couple of different apps. So that's annoying me, but that's just like a straight up bug. And then there's some other problem I've been having too. Oh yeah, Twitch. I don't know why this happens, but there's an auto setting for the resolution. And I have it set to auto, but then the highest options are grayed out and only the lowest ones are allowed. And I can't select these anymore. So I need to like reopen the entire app. So every once in a while, a stream will be in 360 and I'll be like, why did this happen? And I don't have an answer for that. The stream supports these. If I reopen the app, I can use them. So I'm not sure what it is. You have to navigate to see your followed channels that they did some months back. Oh, that they present a channel to you at first. I don't mind that so much. I don't tend to, I assume you watch a lot more Twitch than I do based on whenever I pop into a channel, I'm like, oh, Kevin's there already. I've had that when trying to send GIFs in Google's Messenger, a different problem with the same workaround. Yeah, so then it's probably a Gboard problem. I don't know. Man, it's frustrating. They also, anyway, there have been some other like pixel bugs that are annoying. Every once in a while, my touchscreen just stops working entirely and I need to reboot my phone. Maybe that's hardware damage though at that point. Okay, so I ran this and it said the highest tag found was this. So yeah, this is working. That's pretty good. Okay, cool. Wrote code to compare versions in there. So fetch the previous version. Look for the latest commit. So now we don't need to do this. Ask via text input what the new one should be. Typing nothing should use the current version. Okay, so we've gotten this stuff working. So now prompt for new version. And I guess this could be in Semver. All we care about, I guess we're gonna get a tag name out of this eventually anyway. I guess it doesn't really matter what we do. So this would be version tools dot prompt for new version. So we need to know the current version. And I guess we could pass in the flavor. And then what did we use here that needed, we just ran some arbitrary thing. Okay, we don't need to run an arbitrary thing here though. All right, so where's the other prompt one? Build flavors. All right, one. Are you still alive? I'm hanging in there. How are you doing? Welcome back. I'm feeling pretty good actually. I'm just a little bit tired today. I'm not totally sure why that's the case, and hopefully that fixes itself. So current version, build flavor. Okay, so we're gonna say what the current version is. I'm gonna have to clean up the output of this at some point. So I guess let's not worry about duplicate output yet. But I want to say what the current version is and like what would you like the new version to be? So let's go back to Spectre console and find text prompt. So there are a couple of these. It's possible to use confirmation prompt. Run prompt default choice true. Okay, yeah, something like this. But this is confirmation, a text prompt that returns a Boolean. This is a pretty nice library. Okay, so we want to get new version. It's going to be a string, which means we're going to ask for a string. Our choice. Wait, why are there choices? With converter. I just want a string. This is, I guess I don't want choices. I just want default value. So let's get rid of the choices. Default value should be the current version. And this should be, what do you want the new version to be? Format v. Well, we could add the v in ourselves, I guess. x.y.z. Yeah. Yeah, something like that. And we don't need a converter. And then let's just print that out, I guess. We need to do some validation on it to make sure this is a valid Semver version. That's easy enough to do. I just want to print this for now. New version that you typed is going to be that. Okay, let's try that out. So it's going to find that the old version is 1.2.1, I think. Yeah. So what do you want the new version to be? Format x.y.z. So we say 1.2.2. New version you typed 1.2.2. Perfect. Okay, now what if we do that again, but we just press enter? Oh, it doesn't like when you do that. Okay, so we press enter. It says 1.2.1-demo. Okay, so then we need to strip the. Maybe we should delete the -demo from this, because the current version has -demo. I don't want that. Current version. Yeah. So current version equals version dot. How do you do this? We could say without release or that. Yeah, return major, minor, patch, empty, 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 empty. Yeah, that's exactly what I want. toString. Okay, so we remove this. So now when I run this, it should not have the -demo. It should just be 1.2.1. Perfect. I press enter. It's 1.2.1. Great. This is wonderful. We just need to append the. So I guess let's turn this into a Semver. Semver, new Semver. This could be old or current. So the new one is going to be this. We don't care about whether you have the lower V or not. And then we want to validate it. I guess that's what this is going to do. So let's run this again, and I'll just type some garbage in here. So I'll just type cat. Yeah, it fails. Good. We need to know that this fails for when we run the next stuff. I think it should be fine. Hey, Vacillate. So you linked a 20 game challenge, but I missed the context. What were your thoughts? I think I was responding to something in particular that someone was asking about. Let me see if I remember this, because I specifically remember calling out like Jetpack Joyride. Something about, I don't know, I'm not sure. Anyway, my general thoughts on this is that I think one of the problems with any creative endeavor is that without constraints, you have a practically infinite amount of things you can look into. Like if I hand you an instrument and I said, hey, go play some music. It's like you could play any genre, you could play any length of music, you could play any tempo of music, you could do anything. By constraining that drastically, you focus on only what might matter to you. And for people getting into game development, specifically coding or making a game, this cuts out everything else. You don't have to worry about the assets. Like Pong has known assets. You can go find them online. You can download them, just rectangles, right? So that's even easier. But Flappy Bird, it's like you can find some free bird graphic online, some free background, and not worry about graphics. Game design, you don't have to worry about game design for a game that's already been made. So you can basically just jump right into how do I develop this thing? So I think intentionally having blinders on is really important when it comes to those creative endeavors, or for learning, indeed. And I think about this in terms of poetry sometimes. It was kind of like the music example, but imagine if I said like write a poem without using the letter E. That alone gets your brain thinking about like, oh, how am I going to go out doing this? And it's kind of like those oblique strategies for just thinking through problems. Hey, Worksy, what mouse am I using? Is it a trackball? The mouse I have is a G600, which unfortunately was discontinued. I would generally show it to the camera, but the cat's on my lap and it's very awkward to move right now. But it's got 12 thumb buttons on the side. So I have them bound to things like move a window left or right or maximize or go to different tabs or close a tab. So I can do that all from the mouse. Anyway, Vasily, let me know if you have any other questions about that. I'm not sure if I covered what you want to know. All right, so we get the new one. This validates that it is a version that's allowed, but then we want to get the without pre-release or metadata, and then set the pre-release. I guess let's get the sem version stripped, or like major. I'll just do this. New semver equals that. And then new semver dot pre-release equals flavor. Why is that a problem? Cannot be assigned to. How do you assign to the pre-release? There's no set. Maybe I have to make a new one. I probably have to make a new one. Oh, there's with pre-release. Oh yeah, that's it. Flavor dot tag name. Then return the new semver.toString. Okay, let's try that out. Missing a semicolon. Got it. Hey, Jost, good morning. And good. I'm glad, Vacillate. Yeah. Okay, so now let's say we type 4.5.6. It should make 4.5.6-demo. It did. This is exactly what I want. So I think this is working pretty well. Also, this template, this little skeleton code we wrote here of just like what are all the different steps. This is really nice. So ensure that it's not lower than the old version. We can do that. Okay, so how do we compare the two again? Version, compare precedence. The highest version is if it's greater than. So I want to compare the new version to the old version. And if it is less than, then we want to maybe throw an exception. I guess I'll just throw an exception for now. New version must be greater than or equal to the current version. Note there may be some hypothetical case where we don't want this, in which case just delete the exception and write code for that case. I just wanted simple guard code until we know we have that case. All right, I'm not sure that this is even, I'm just going to test it. If it works, it works. I'm not going to try to read this again. All right, so we currently have 121. If we type 120, it should trigger this code. So it says the new version 120 must be greater than or equal to the current version 121. Yeah, that's good. That's what I want. Okay. Oh, this cat is so warm. She's also adorable. I could pretty much just share the exact same picture I shared the other day because she's in the exact same position. Where is it? Here. Yeah. This is from the other day, the picture that I took, but she looks pretty much identical. She's leaving with her little head upside down. Winter doesn't like that exception, I think because that is not an argument to the method. Yeah, I did this somewhere else too. Well, I guess here we don't really care. This is the exit code and the error. Wait, didn't I do this somewhere else? Maybe in build flavors? Yeah, here, although there, oh, weird. It also wasn't an argument to the method. I wonder why it only complains in one case. Place this with one of the method's parameters name. Write a parameter name should have the exact casing as declared. I don't really care about this. I'll just write like invalid state exception or something. Invalid operation exception. Yeah. I find that the exact exception type doesn't matter unless your code is doing something with it. Because if the string is clear, you could have named this anything. You could have said it's a divide by zero exception. And as long as the message is clear, who cares what the type of exception is? Like I said, if your code's doing something with it, then it matters. You're trying to catch only invalid operation exceptions, but we're not doing that in this case. This is just for a human. All right, so ask via text input what the new version should be. Typing nothing should use the current version. Ensure the new version is not lower than the old one. Done. At this point, it should run export and upload, and it chooses which features. Okay, my legs are killing me. Cat, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry, Cat. I've got to move you. I'm sorry, Abby. Oh my God, my legs. I don't know about you guys, but there's no sound. Sound should be fine. Yeah. Have you tried refreshing? All right. Hey, Luna. Okay, so choose which features to inject. This is where we now connect to the other script that we have. Also, that would have just opened VLC early morning yesterday, but I fixed that. I just typed a square root symbol instead. So the features come from, what do they come from? Export? Yeah, and this runs a .NET thing, which now we can just do directly from the release tool. Which means feature tags. We just call in one of these, process template, I guess. How does that work? Existing features. Where do we get the existing features from? Oh, I see. We pass in a function that returns what to do with them. Okay, I think that's fine. I think we'd probably simplify this function a little bit and just say what tags. No, it's probably fine. Hey, let me know if you're hiring. Probably want to expose add command handler and remove command handler. Yeah, I was thinking of just doing process template, but yeah, actually that probably makes more sense. We could say that these are both internal, which might mean we need to move them. No, we don't. Okay, so how do we do this? We need the path to export presets, which this thing knows about. Read from template path. Where's template path? Template path is there. Template path gets passed in. So we pass it in. Okay, so then there's no problem with that. All right, well, let's try it. We'll go get a different export presets. So game/export. Oops. Yeah. And I want one that has no custom features right now. Good. So this is fine. We're going to copy all of this and we're going to save it over here. Yeah. So export presets.cfg. We're going to paste this in. So there's nothing here. This is just a copy of this for right now. And then we're going to call into this thing. So what is responsible for exporting? I guess just directly the command handler thing. So that means we need to go change the release tools project so that it can refer to dots. Ooh, these can be backslashes. Okay, interesting. I guess we can just delete that. Feature tags.cs project. That should allow us to use this. Program.main. I guess we have to type program. So I guess feature tags.program. Can I do that? How do we access this thing? What if I messed up? Oh, I guess we do need to go up a directory to that. So now add command. No, what am I doing? Should be /feature tags. Oh yeah, I have no idea what I'm. I don't know how paths work. All right, so now add command handler can presumably find that. No. All right, you know what? We're just gonna validate this. We're just gonna go into this folder, copy path, then go over there, and then type this ls./feature tags. Feature tags.csprod. Yeah, that's correct. So there's some using I'm going to need that'll let me get to access to this. Program static. There's no namespace for this. Program. I'm missing something. We're going to need a using feature tags here. It's just, it says it can't be found. So I'm missing a using directive. I am almost certainly messing this up. And I don't see what's wrong here. Maybe to move those methods elsewhere. When we use the shared stuff, we have process tools. Is this in a namespace? It is. Oh, maybe we just need a namespace for this then. Namespace feature tags. Okay, that might have been all that we need. Feature tags dot program dot add. No, it's not there. What's going on? It finds the right program. Oh, it's not considered internal at that point. Oh. I thought, okay, that makes more sense. It's just considered a library, so then that wouldn't help. Okay, then there we go. So then we probably didn't need the namespace. So now we can access add command handler. Yeah. So now that works. So then what if we had deleted the namespace? Although I think I want the namespace there. So now that'll go away with, and we'll just do program.add command handler. I don't like that. We're putting a namespace in here. Which probably means anything else in feature tag should also have that. It's just this one thing. All right, so add command handler, what do we take in for this? We pass in the template path, which we are going to say is /export presets.cfg. And then we're gonna pass in a set of features we want. So demo. And that's just gonna tag this. So if I do this correctly, then we don't need really any of this other stuff. Yeah, let's try running that. And it should just put demo into export presets, file not found. It's because it's looking in template path, which is /, and it doesn't. What? I say it's not null there. Anyway, it should be this. I'll just fully type the path to this. Hey, Aussie. Running it from the game repo. Yeah, I figured something's wrong with the relative path there. So we'll just do that, and that should work. Okay, so now this thing needs a logger, but it never would have had a logger set up. Funny how many problems the logging stuff is causing. So this has a static logger that's private, but only gets set up when run through the command line. So I guess we would need to pass in loggers to all of this stuff. And then when run from here, they're passed in. Then again, all this is doing to log is how many things it wrote. So I wonder if we should just delete the logger. Yeah, I think we're just going to delete the logger completely. Because I don't think this is super helpful. Okay. So now this thing doesn't even need the shared code. So we can go remove that reference from here. Okay. And now it should work, I think. So if it worked, then what we'll see is that export presets now contains demo in it. And it does. And if we then remove it, remove command handler. So let's add demo, comma, delete me. And then delete the delete me. Remove command handler. Oh, I'm so used to running from the terminal there. Here comes writing command line tools. Okay, so now delete me should be gone. And export preset should just have demo in it still. This is the wrong one. Yeah, nice. That worked. Okay, cool. So what was the next step? It chooses which features to inject. So demo, playtest, or release. So I guess build flavor should have the set of features we want to inject. Okay, sure. We'll put this here. Private static dictionary of build flavor to a presumably a list of strings. An I read only list of strings. Yeah. I read only list string. So this is going to be tag features. These are the features. These are the Godot features that get injected into the custom features tag in export presets.cfg. So demo is just going to be demo, playtest is going to be playtest, and release is going to be nothing, I guess. Okay. I meant to, whoops. Okay, I meant to select all of those. Yeah. And now delete that. All right, so let's tag features. So now I want to do the exact same thing that we did here and get tag features. I want to generalize the code to modify custom features so you can use it for version. I am not sure what that means, but I'm guessing that Kevin is already on the phone. Okay, so the export thing that happens, we now have the set of features that we want. So we're going to do here is pass in that set of features, which means we need to build flavor. So let's put all of this stuff back and get flavor.tag features. Then we can remove them again afterward. Why is this cannot convert from method group? You want to modify the game version in Godot project file? Oh, yeah. Yeah. Modify the, I didn't even have that written down. Modify the game version in project.godot, which means making the code to edit a section of a file more generic. Okay, so the issue I'm having right now is I don't understand why this thing's complaining at me. I did flavor.tag name. Oh, it's an actual method. I didn't need to make this a method, did I? I probably didn't. And then I guess just delete them all too, tag features. So here we need to do the export and the tag. But there's one other thing we need to do too, which is change or like set version in project file. And then I guess we're just going to revert that afterward. Well, I don't know what we concluded about saving this thing. So right now in our project.godot file, I have a version string in here, 082 alpha. The alpha doesn't mean anything really, and it doesn't matter. But the 082 is because we only have one version right now, and it's the demo. In the future, we might have the demo at a certain version, the other things at a certain version. So I think we're just going to kind of ignore this and basically just say this entire thing is a placeholder. Will that cause any problems? I don't think so. I wrote this here in cleanup. Actually, the whole thing is a placeholder. Yeah. Okay. since we set it dynamically. Except for that's probably not true. Godot probably uses that. The game definitely uses that. Huh. What do I want to do for that then? Do we ever plan to modify the version in project.godot for ourselves? And where does that show up, I wonder? So if I go to project settings, and type version, it shows up here, but you can type in whatever you want. So I guess we could write placeholder and it wouldn't actually matter. Although, how do I undo this now? I guess you can't undo it. Hey, Jeffrey Pine. I watched this cool video on creativity this morning that really struck me because it introduced the idea that creativity comes from interpretation rather than originality. It seems really basic, but I've always thought that most awesome things came from being original. I think this is something we're kind of considering in the days of LLMs. A lot of people are saying something like computers are just copying from humans. And one of the sort of retorts is humans were just copying from humans. But maybe it was subconsciously. So if you think about it, let's say you are a musician and you're writing music. Is whatever you're producing truly original? At least in this day and age, like maybe some of it, maybe a small portion of it. But probably a lot of it, you're influenced by what you've heard your whole life and you just don't realize that you're taking something from somebody else. Every once in a while, I find myself doing some kind of comedy writing and I'll write a joke that I'm like, oh my God, this is hilarious. And then years will pass and I'll realize, wait a second, that was just a joke I took from a TV show that I watched a long time ago. And I had no idea I was doing it. There was one of the ones I remember is in The Office. Ryan goes to Thailand and someone asks him, hey, how was Thailand? And he says, it was indescribable. And then he stops talking. And it's a really well-written joke. And I apparently copied that myself at one point. And I never published that thing, so it didn't matter. Hey, Olympic, got a question. Is there a way to get rid of this stupid burnout? Because for me, it's been a year and a half. Oh, it's been half a year. And I observe already no way of getting out of this horrible state. So I think you have to ask yourself what's contributing to the burnout. Is it the pace? Is it the people? Is it the type of work? Is it what you're doing outside of work? Is it, I don't know, the complexity, the like lack of relaxation, some mental issue? Maybe you have like high anxiety or something. Without knowing this, it's not, I wouldn't be able to say what you should do exactly. So I think the only thing you should do is try to figure out what is it. And the way you can try to figure this out a little bit further is to tweak some variables. So let's say you're working, I don't know, 40 hours a week. Try working 36 hours a week. Or try a different team or a thing that you do after work or exercise more, something. Try tweaking some variables and seeing, okay, did that help or did that hurt? Because I think with the really, really persistent kinds of burnout, it's people doing something wrong or multiple things wrong in here. Maybe they're working 60 hours a week and they're doing it for too long, such that after a year of that, it's just accumulated to a point where it's like, okay, now there's no fixing it. Just take a sabbatical or a long break, something like that, and try to get back to your equilibrium state and hope that it didn't do permanent damage. And then afterward, whatever you figure out is like, try to maintain work-life balance. And I know this is sometimes easier said than done, but I find that many people have a problem just asserting their own boundaries and saying things like no, or I've already worked too much, or that's not a good project for me or something. Some people look at that as like, well, what if I lost my job? And it's like, well, if you're burning out at your job and the alternative is trying to assert your boundaries and maybe having success, then maybe that's something worth working on. Hey, Gagoo. Generally try different things. Yeah, and try different things for the purpose of identifying what's wrong. The other thing you can do, if you have a significant other, it's going to be probably pretty easy. Or if you're really close with your family or friends or something like that, just ask them, like, what do you think my problem is? Because they might have insight into this and they're just, maybe they're afraid to say it or they thought it was obvious. Because you'd be surprised what the people around you notice that you think they're not noticing. And if someone's a workaholic, it's usually pretty obvious they're a workaholic. And then if their friends are like, well, look, you're working all the time, you're constantly talking about it, you're complaining about it or something like that, you might be like, oh, I did not know this about myself. So I never answered this question. We could just have it say placeholder forever. Would that hurt us in some way? I don't think so. I think it's fine. Hey, Codex. Yeah, sleeping more could potentially be it. There are so many aspects that can contribute to burnout. It's physical or mental or social or who knows what. In some cultures, they project so bad. Could be a double-edged sword. Yeah, I think there's some amount of introspection you need to do for this. So if someone says something to you like, oh, well, you're working like 80 hours a week, and you're like, no, I'm not. Yeah, I think it's don't just take it as gospel as soon as you hear it. Yeah, I don't think we need to do this. I think we just set it as placeholder. I don't think the version will matter for us at all. And we'll have the commit history. We can look back and forward at any point to find the nearest versions from there. Okay, so set version in project file. I guess this is going to be in version tools. And we're going to set the new version. And that's it. I don't think we need anything else. Maybe a path to the project file. But this thing, lookup version just knows what it is. It has a working directory. I'll need to solidify that in a bit. Okay, so let's do this one now. So this is going to take in a string and it's just going to put it inside of this file. Version tools. So internal static void set. Okay, this is going to do something very similar to what feature tags did. Let's just close out of everything else right now. Let's go to feature tags. So this goes through all of the lines and checks to see if it starts with a certain prefix and then sets it to a thing. So in export presets, this looks like this, custom features equals that. And in project.godot, it looks like this, config/version equals that. So in both cases, it should be pretty easy to do this. And we can write one function that does them both. So instead of process template, I guess our generic function is going to be like private static void replace, I guess, CFG. What do you even call this? CFG file. Properties, attributes? Is there like a spec or something that I can just look at what the terminology is? Config files, spec.org. All right, this is a waste of my time. Let's just click this thing. Stores data, use some applications, use a tool to modify them. I guess there is no standard format. But still, I'm trying to figure out what you call these things. Just properties and values, I guess. Sure, let's just call them properties. Replace config property. All right, so we need the path to the file. Path to file. And then this was a function that would tell us. So get the existing ones. It could potentially modify these. We want to be able to set this. And I'm not sure if the adding and removing is important. Because these are always going to be just blank things that we export. Unless we have something we export just for development. And then adding and removing could be helpful. Or we can make two versions of this. So here's the issue. We have a function that will replace a property based on the existing properties. i.e., you pass in a function that tells it how to modify them. This isn't needed for setting the version, though. We just want to replace what's there. You know what, then maybe we don't even use this function. All we're really doing is replacing a single line with something else. I think maybe making it a generic thing is overkill. Maybe what we should do in here is just, this is going to be to do open project.godot, replace config/version with the new version. That's it. Okay. Yeah. So C# replace line in file. We could read all the lines. We could modify it. We could then return it. I wonder if there's an easier way to do this. The file's never going to be so large that we can't just load it all in at once. Yeah. It's pretty much this. There's no built-in function for this. Yeah. Okay. Don't forget to set the config file version in the config file. I think you're talking about this because that's what we're going to do right now. If you're talking about something else, Patrick, I am curious about that. Also, hi. Hey, Barry. Have we started with the topic and the title already? Sounds really interesting. Yeah. I try to have my intros last for maybe a minute or two. So I tend to just dive right into this stuff. To catch you up to speed here, what we're doing is we have 3 flavors of the game. There's the demo, there's playtest, and there's release. And this doesn't exist yet. We're prepping for this. So this is the only thing that's existed up until this point. As such, we could always just have a version string in here. So version 082 alpha, like that's the demo version. That's what people are playing right now. But I want to make a playtest thing so that any new features I add that shouldn't go into the demo, because I don't want people to have the full game before it launches, not for free at least, then we'll put them into this playtest version, which means now we're going to need a version for the demo. So this is going to be 082-demo. And then the playtest might keep going up. So maybe like 085 by the time we finally bump another demo version. So this is going to handle tagging with versions and then exporting the right stuff and uploading it to the right portion of Steam as well. And we've got, these pieces are coming together. We might be able to get this done in the next like couple hours. Okay, so replacing what's there is going to come from this. So opening project.godot, I guess we need to take in the file path. We don't take it in for this. This is just assumed where it is. So how about for now, let's also just assume that it's there. Yeah, sure. And welcome in. Project.godot. Okay, so we saved that. And now we're going to go get the path to that. Get CD. Hey, Nuka DeLuca. Someone came in yesterday saying, do you know Nuka DeLuca? He suggested I come here. So I thought that was nice. I also think it's nice that you're guiding them. That's really great. All right, so path to file is going to be this. Path to file equals this / project.godot. So then we're going to read all the lines and we're going to go through, and if it starts with config version, set it equal to this, and then break, and then write all the lines, and we're done. Hey, typical. Welcome in. Okay, so let's go test this out. We just need to go back to, what is this thing called? ReleaseTool. Yeah. Okay, so here's what's going to happen, assuming we did this correctly. This V082 alpha is going to get replaced with whatever it is we end up typing. So let's type in a new thing. It's going to run through the whole flow. Oh, no, it's not going to run through the whole flow because I got rid of some part of this. Yeah, it doesn't prompt for the build flavor. That's fine. So let's type 1.2.5 just for laughs. And yeah, sure enough, there it is, 1.2.5-demo. Unfortunately, that was supposed to have quotation marks around it. Although possibly they're not needed. No, they're probably needed. And either way, it's super easy to do. I just didn't do it. So we just put quotes. Perfect. Okay, so that is done. And then the next thing is to export and then tag. So exporting, this was typically done via export all builds. And we would run this. What does that do? It runs Godot. And it assumes it's in an environment variable. But the rest of the stuff is pretty easy to do. And the environment variable should exist. We should probably make certain at the beginning of this that it exists. But yeah, so this is the command we now need to run. So what should be responsible for this? Like what file do we put this in? We have version tools, we have build flavors, exporting. Maybe we just make a new file called export. Yeah. Talked about starting a project together. Found out he's been watching your streams. Wait, no, that's backwards. You sat down with a friend over coffee and then suggested my stream, and then they came into my stream yesterday and said I was referred here. I don't think they'd been here already. Maybe what you're saying is they watched more than just the one stream yesterday, I guess. Anyway, doesn't matter. I think it's nice. All right, so let's go make a new file here. We'll save this as export. Export game.cs. Or like Godot. I mean, we're calling everything tools, I guess let's call it that too. Might be two different people. Oh, really? How many coffees did you have yesterday? No wonder you're wired. Well, I'm talking about Jackal. I don't know their real name, but that's their online name, or a portion of it at least. I don't remember their full name. All right, so Godot tools.export this stuff. So we need to go plug in all of that. Let's just copy this over to here. Call this Godot tools. I sing your praises. I do be barding about. Well, thank you. I think that's exciting. So you're doing a game with one of the people, and you're guiding another person toward a game. Sounds like you have many irons in the fire. So export takes in the flavor. Why does it take in the flavor? I don't think we need a flavor or a version at this point. I think we just call export. So I think this is just a void function. Internal static void export. I guess just delete everything else. And even that. And probably all of that too. Okay, that's gotta run. Before I forget, let's write something down here. Probably should delete all of exports, all builds from Godot. Maybe I shouldn't delete this though. Do I ever need to do this on my own though? I don't run this right now. I would like to be able to export the Mac version. Oh man, okay, I might want this script still. But will I, if I ever want to export, couldn't I just manually do all this stuff? I guess it comes down to how often am I going to manually do it? And why would I do it at all? What would I be testing? Okay, maybe we want this. Figure out what we want to do with copy path of active file. It may be good to have a way to export the way that we do for release. But maybe it should just be ReleaseTool handling all of that. That way we don't need to maintain many ways of running the code. Yeah. All right, well, this is what we want to run. So we want that command. Whoa. So first we need to ensure that the environment variable exists. Oh, there's just environment variable. Static string throw if null. That's if the argument's null. But then it can return something that is null. Okay, so then we want the Godot executable. And if that's null, then we throw an exception. Hey, look at that. Good job, AI. Yeah, this is, I think, something that's really nice. It's like, I didn't need to look that up or do anything. In like 5 seconds, we had the function we want. This is now a question mark. So ensure the environment variable exists. And now we need to actually call this function. This is done through process tools. And we did this already somewhere. Process tools dot there. Yep. All right. So we're going to run process tools. We need a logger. What? iLogger logger? Which means now the caller of this needs to be modified. Okay, so we're going to run Godot 4. How do we do that? Godot executable with all of those arguments. Dash dash headless, export release, $1. Oh, that's the platform. It has to be one of these three things. And we want to run all of these. So this is going to be platform. And then the path to the game, that I'm going to need to customize. You have version control in the config file. If you save the config version in the config, that version inherits the game version. Is like that you store the version of the database inside the database. And if you update the program, oh, I think I see what you're saying. So we have game saves that will contain the version information. And then the Godot build itself will have the version. And we have a way of fetching that. So yes, this will be inside the game and the saves. Hey again, Kevin. Okay, so the platform, when we export, this is going to be export all, I guess. Internal static void export all. All platforms. Export on all platforms, export to all platforms, export all platforms, and then export platform. Oh, man. Okay, so here are the platforms. I read only list string platforms equals this. This is not how I want to do this, though. I want these to be an enumeration. So I guess let's do the same thing we did for build flavors. Because we only have 3 platforms. This is going to be... This is maybe like supported platform. Or export platform. Yeah. And they're just the 3 options here, which are pretty obvious. We have Windows, Mac, and Linux. How do you capitalize the S in this? Because normally it's written like that. Lowercase m, capital OS. But when writing as an enumeration, should I do that? Does it complain at me? No, it doesn't. Okay, I'll do that then. All right, and then we make a function that's going to get us the string that... I guess that I named these inside of Godot. Is that where those are coming from? Export. Mac OS, Windows Desktop, Linux. Yeah. Okay. I don't want to rename these. I think that's fine. And that's whatever Godot chose originally. So we'll just do whatever we did in build flavors, where we had this build flavor. Yeah, so just copy all of this stuff over to here. Put this up here. Okay, so this is going to be an export platform to a string, and it's going to be Godot platform names. It should know how to do this. Yes, good, it does. But now why is that a problem? It's a method? Oh, because I named export platform the same as this, export platform? No. Okay, maybe we just call this like, well, what does Godot call them? Presets. Export. Export. Maybe I'll just call them platform. Fine. Okay, and then instead of this, we're gonna call this platform name. It takes in a platform and returns that. Cool. So I guess move this up to here. So now we don't need this. This is just gonna be platform dot. Let's do Mac first. In fact, if I'm gonna do Mac first, let's do this. Doesn't really matter. But if I ever want to cut off the build early, I can do it this way. So now we want to get the platform name and then do that for all of these. There. All right, now let's write a note here. These are the names that show in Godot project export. Yeah, so they, or maybe I should say these need to match the names that show. Yeah, that's probably better. Okay, so we get all the platforms. And then when we export a platform, we're going to take in the platform they want to target. So here we don't even need to do this. We can just get the platforms. In fact, we could have done this a different way, but let's not worry about that for right now. All right, so for each platform, export to that. Not too shabby. So the environment variable being set, I guess, does need to be here for each individual export platform, but we should probably do this at the very beginning of the program. So now we run this with platform.platform name, path to the game. The game we're going to need to hard code right now, I guess, to this. And then we don't use any of the output for this. We should make sure that the exit code is 0. So this is the exit code, and this is the error. Error, yeah. Okay, so if exit code is not equal to 0, then failed to export for platform. Just use interpolation here. Failed to export for Mac exit code. And then I guess print out the output and the error. Why is it formatted like that? Hey, Cuttlefish. Are you making it so you can do a dry run? No. We should probably have it ask if we want to upload to Steam. No, actually, even then, it doesn't matter. Steam has the concept of a dry run pretty much baked in. So the way that it works is you upload anything to a depot, and then the depot needs to be made public. Wait, let me just think about this really fast. Essentially this, yeah. So like you can't just upload something and have it be live for everybody. You need to do an extra step. Hey, Shot, what am I making? I'm working on a game called Skeleseller. Yeah, so Kevin just linked that in. And then I also keep the today command updated. So if you ever want to know what I'm doing at a particular moment, you can usually find out. So yeah, this is a game that you can find on Steam if you want to take a look at the trailer there. And we are trying to get it so that playtesters can give their feedback on unreleased content. So that's what we're doing. So failed to export for platform. Output. Yeah. Should not vary between calls to this. How did it even find variance? Was it with... Huh. Okay. Well, then fine. All right, then let's write this how it was written originally. Okay, let me just look this up. We didn't even use this anymore, do we? Log information. Command. Platform and exit code. Exit code doesn't exist. Oh, because this is still an interpolated string. Ah, okay. Cool. And then sure, successfully exported for platform. Exported to platform. How far off release? Probably 3 months. It's hard to say because there is a ton of stuff to do. But yeah, I'm hoping September. And that's part of the reason I'm like ramping up everything. I don't normally stream on Tuesdays or Thursdays. I'm streaming then. I'm trying to take care of marketing stuff. So yeah. Ethical hacker and like to watch games. It was nice. Nice. Yeah. I went to Brazil, I think last year for a wedding. Yeah, I think it was last year. But other than that, I have no connection to Brazil. So it's just I visited once. Okay. So this is looking pretty good. So I guess what we want to do is export all platforms at this point. Or maybe I'll just pick one for now. Platform Godot tools.platform.macOS. I just want to see if this works for at least one of these things. Platform name doesn't exist? Yeah. And now this doesn't contain a definition for this? Is it because it's just internal? We should be able to do that? Yeah, nice. Okay, so that's what we need to do. And then we need like upload to Steam. Or maybe ask to upload to Steam. And maybe ask to upload to itch. So let's try to run this. Hopefully nothing can go wrong here. All right, so we come up with a new version. Let's say it's 1.5.9. Just making up numbers here. So now it says running command, Godot, export the game. This generally takes like 40 seconds. And there's no speeding this up. So I guess we're just waiting. I'm also not totally sure where it's going to put this. I guess the export template knows where to put it. Yeah, it knows where to put it. So it's going to put it in the out folder. So we should be able to go find that. Out. And it is June 24th. So we should see this get updated soon. And it should say June 24th. Like I said, it just takes a little bit of time. There's nothing necessarily wrong yet. But if another 30 seconds pass, then probably something's wrong. Because I'm starting to wonder why it's taking as long as it is. Maybe I should have had it print the output as we're doing this. Yeah, I think something's broken here. Okay, well, what could it be doing? It should just be running this stuff. I don't know what would be wrong with that. And then it should print something regardless. I guess let's put a breakpoint there. It hasn't hit this yet, though. And as mentioned, I don't think it should take that long. Maybe the project.godot is malformed. No, that looks fine. What about export presets? Maybe that's being pulled from the wrong location. Custom features, no, that's fine too. What's going on? It looks like it's running the right command. I mean, I guess what we could do is we could just stop this and then try to run this command myself. But I don't know why that would be a problem. Godot -- headless export release Mac - path whatever. We run this. So far, so good. I don't see anything wrong here. It's gonna output a whole lot of stuff. That invalid version is something we can just ignore. Again, so far, this is fine. It's okay that it's taking some time right now. But if it got stuck here for good, it didn't. That we can also ignore. And yeah, it finished. It took 31 seconds. And then it updated this. Why didn't it do that when I ran from Godot? Or from C#? That's strange. Should be running. I literally just copy pasted exactly what it was doing. Let's try running this again. Maybe it's just some one-off error. I just can't imagine what that would have been. So we type one, oops. It doesn't really matter what I type here. It's not even going to use this information because it's logging into a different spot. I would need to think about this some more if this is still going to fail. What would it mean if I can copy paste this and run it myself? It would mean that something about this is not correct. Oh, maybe it's that? Maybe the working directory should just be wherever we launched this thing from? No, that shouldn't matter. I ran it from just my home directory over here. Yeah, just user/Adam. That shouldn't matter. What is it doing though? Why? Redirect centered output. Okay, let's just turn these things off. Set this to false. And then rerun this whole thing. It should print out. Oh, maybe we need use shall execute to be true. Read to end now won't work. Can we just skip? Oh God, we can't skip that. Okay, how about this? Let's do string output equals empty, error equals empty. Try running that now. All right, so we type 1.5.8. This stuff is all broken, but that's probably fine. Okay, so now we can see the output for this. It says Godot, it does the scanning stuff. This is exactly what we saw before. Again, so far everything's fine. Yep. Yep. Is there a difference between that and that? No, there isn't. String.empty is an alias to an empty string. Does the temp folder exist? Everything exists. So here we see that everything just worked correctly and it says successfully exported. And all I did is change this stuff. So apparently we're probably stuck on one of these. I just don't know how that would be the case. We're probably stuck here and wait for exit. Man, that's a shame. Okay, let's save this for just a second. This is the working version of process tools. Well, read to end shouldn't block on anything. The process is already done. We know that it's exited. I mean, this is a synchronous call, but the output should have already been done at that point. Watch a bit of it on the treadmill. Is it helping? Because I summed up all of that knowledge in a playlist that I did for YouTube. Well, not all of it, but like I made a little shooter RPG thing. Okay, so here's what I think is going on. I think we're stuck here. I don't think we ever make it to this code or this code. But let's find out. It is? Okay, cool. Yeah. Yeah, I guess you at least see how the learning process goes through that, as opposed to, I mean, a lot of that information is dated. The videos from 5 years ago, and Godot has been going through updates pretty consistently. Right, this might just be a problem. You can't really see this dialog because I'm blocking it, but it says waiting for pre-launch task build. Can I just abort this? Yeah, I thought that would happen. Okay, we got to reload this whole thing. Oh, this is frustrating. Hey, this is still happening. Oh, we got to quit all of VS Code to fix it. And now I got to launch this again. Okay, does it work? Should work this time. Okay, cool. So we immediately got to here. That's fine. Now we're going to get to the next thing. That's okay. Great. We type in our name, or our version name, at least 1.5.8. So now we're in wait for exit. of our Godot application. So we're going to hit play. So we got to here. So now it's going to spend like 30 seconds running the thing. And then one of two things should happen. It should either go to this or to this. So if neither one does happen, then it doesn't think that this thing exited, which I don't know how that'd be the case. Instructs the process component to wait indefinitely for the associated process to exit. Which I guess would mean that Godot isn't raising a certain signal. Did it change its font, or is my browser playing games? I don't know. Kevin was talking about some Twitch changes. Everything got rounder. Okay, I think it's been long enough where this thing would have happened. So I think that Godot is not exiting. But why? So Godot for -- help. Is there something here about exit? No. Well, we know it has to do with how input is read. For whatever reason, one of these things, redirect standard output or redirect standard input, is causing it to just hang. Okay, C# redirect standard output program doesn't exit. Yeah, I like bunnies. Redirecting standard output causes program to not exit. Is it writing a standard error? It could be that the buffer for it is filling up, causing a deadlock. To avoid deadlocks, use asynchronous read operations on at least one of the streams. Do not perform a synchronous read to the end of both redirected streams. Oh, well, look at that. Where does it say that? The redirected standard output stream can be read synchronously or asynchronously. Don't complete until the associated process writes to its standard output stream or closes the stream. In contrast, begin output read line starts asynchronous read operations on the standard output stream. Method enables a designated event handler. Yeah, great. So we got to not do this. Ugh. Well, I'm glad we at least found this quickly. Caller waits on the read operation until the child writes to the stream or closes the stream. When the child process writes enough data, dependent on the parent. Evaluate dependencies between caller and child process. Following example performs a read operation on both. Avoids a deadlock by performing asynchronous read operations on standard error. Deadlock condition results if the parent process calls read to end followed by this, which is exactly what we're doing. And the child process writes enough text to fill its error stream. The parent process would wait indefinitely for child process to close, would wait indefinitely for the parent to close it. So p.begin error read line, and then get the output, and then wait for exit. This is stupid. No two ways about this. This is stupid. But I guess we can fix this. Redirect standard output. All right, so we do this. Then we don't redirect standard error. Apparently we do. But we do this. P.error data received. Then we start the process. And then begin error read line right after starting. And then read only the output to the end. And then wait for exit afterward. Huh. Seems strange. string output equals this, and call wait for exit, then e out should exist. So we don't need to do this or this. E out is really just error, I guess. And not null, but string.empty again. It's not that it's blocking to read a pipe that's already closed. It's that both the child and parent processes are waiting for the other thing to complete. So it's a deadlock between two consumers, I guess, although one's a producer. Okay, so that should work, I guess. Now we run this and hope that we still get error and output as we should. Yeah, delete my breakpoints. They shouldn't matter. Does it work? 1.5.8. This does work. This wasn't that hard to do. Although who knows if we broke something else. So as mentioned, this should take about 30 seconds and then it should exit. Excuse me. Maybe we should have tested with something more straightforward, but then maybe we wouldn't have run into a deadlock in the first place. So I'm hoping that this prints something else out in just a second, because I've probably been talking for 20 seconds now. Come on. Oh, nice. It worked. Wow, look at that. We did it. Okay. All right, so we've exported. We have this build now. This is done at 9:45, which is what time it is. So now if we run open, oh wait, no, that's in tools. If we run open exported Mac build, the build should work. I think it will have gotten the demo tag, which means we won't have, how do we even test this? We won't have all of the adventurers, but we wouldn't know that unless we had a save file that had all of that set up. So I guess there's no easy way to test that. Well, let's try loading the game. Oh, this probably has all the adventurers unlocked. It doesn't. It doesn't have the golem or the spirit caller. And we don't have higher adventurer there. So yeah, this worked. This is the demo version. And actually we should see that there. It doesn't say it, but that's because I'm exporting from two different locations right now. So that's probably fine. Yeah, okay, great. So cool. We've gotten it to build. The only other two things we need to do are to tag this version and then the uploading portion. So tagging should be dead simple. Modify game version, that's done. Choose which features to inject, that's done. Choose which depots to upload to. So we're not there yet. We have to tag this. Oh, but we said we would do that after seeing if we should upload. That doesn't make sense, does it? No, I don't think that makes sense. I think we should tag it now. Actually, when do we tag it? After picking the tag. So option 1 is this. Option 2 is after exporting successfully. And option 3 is after uploading successfully. So to answer this question, we need to think about, what does the tag represent? It should represent a released build. But there's no guarantee we'll ever get to that state. So I guess we shouldn't wait for this. There's no way of knowing that we made this public anyway. So after exporting successfully, at least means that we know that the build could be produced. So yeah, probably after this. I think this is our answer. So after exporting, we'll tag this thing. So this is going to be in, I guess, in version tools. Sure. Version tools.tag. So our new version is the tag that we have, except it needs a V in it. And we don't care about anything else. So we just do that. All right. Sure, let's just copy paste this. It's going to be static void tag string version, or new version, I guess. So we need the logger. Okay, so we run git. Our working directory doesn't really matter for right now, I guess. And then we're gonna run tag with -a and then the tag name, which I guess is the version, new version, v version. We should probably know whether or not that contains a v on it. I guess we'll just put that there. If new version dot starts with v, or rather if it doesn't start with a v, then just add it in. So then now we can just do this. And then -m. And we'll also just have it be the same thing, the version. So this will add a tag, but if the tag already existed, this is going to fail. You check to see if the git repo is dirty to avoid a difference between the tag commit and the build code. So the build code doesn't generate anything and shouldn't dirty the version. I don't check to see if it's got any changes already though, just in case we wanted to see something specific. Like imagine if we wanted to export a demo version where the like the amount of money you could start with is up to 15,000. So we make this change, excuse me, and then we don't commit, and then we build and export. That was the thinking behind that, but that might be a dumb idea. Hey, Pavan. Like a lot of what people are probably used to when it comes to releasing something like this is, oh, I'll push to a GitHub repo, and then it will automatically run an action that's going to do all this stuff for me. I think that's a bad idea here. At least at first, I think it's a bad idea. We'd also need that GitHub action to know my Steam credentials. But at the end of the day, as far as I know, that it is impossible to just have like a fully automated Steam launch. You need to use Steam Guard. I think, I'm pretty sure that's the case. So like at some point in this process, I need to take my phone and press a button. I don't think there's any way around that. So if I need to be involved anyway, I don't mind being involved for the start of that process as well. But I also like doing things manually at first to figure out where are the failure modes in it. Nobody can edit them and see you're safe there. Yeah. Yeah, I would expect any CI thing to have that sort of thing. But still, it's like now someone else could push code, and if they have the ability to launch a Steam release using my secret or exfiltrating it. Anyway, it doesn't matter. Yeah, I think we're just gonna start with this. Need to go back to the exact code when tracing the bug to a build. If you allow a build to include uncommitted code. Yeah, that's fair. That's a pretty compelling reason to not allow changes to any code other than maybe just our extra files. We probably do want to make sure we're starting from a clean slate when it comes to a build. That way we can always point to the Git history, see what a build contained, and trust that it wasn't some random modification. Okay, so as mentioned, this can fail, especially if you just ran this already. So I guess what we could do first is we could check to see, does this commit already have this version? And if it does, don't do anything different with it. Yeah, we could do that. We need to know, actually, if we know what the old version is, then we would know whether this had the tag already. Yeah, so we just pass in the old version, right? String old version. No, that won't tell us anything. Well, maybe it will. Yeah, I think it's easier to just check. Let's run this. So I want to do tag -l and then pass in the entire new version here. But we only want to do this on the current commit. And tag -l is going to list just that the tag exists in the Git repo, which I guess is what we want. Do we? A tag? Yeah, I guess it's going to fail if we don't do this. But then, oh God, what are we into? I I think the right thing to do here is to ask to mention, hey, this exists. Do you want to proceed anyway? Because all this is going to do is fail a tagging process. What scenario does this even happen in? We run this whole process and then maybe it fails to upload. So we have a tagged version already. And then we rerun this because now we fixed whatever happened with the upload. Which, by the way, this can happen. The Steam uploader thing is a little bit funky in that it's Steam CMD. If you run it and there's an update, it just updates and then doesn't run your command. So you might say something like steam.cmd, I'm just going to make something up here, like upload build.exe. And it sees update available, downloading, downloaded, exited. And it never runs your command that you had here. So you need to run it a second time. And here it says update not available, and then uploading, and then exited. Worth doing the tag is the final part of the release. Yeah, I guess it could be. Especially because, yeah, I guess that's fine. So here we could just say that tag already exists. And maybe throw an exception. I don't know what we want to do. Can you pre-run it with some blank command to verify update? Yeah, you probably can. Part of the problem is that I don't know exactly what that control flow looks like. So here we have upload to Steam, cat upload to Steam. I don't think there's anything private here, but let me just take a look at that really fast. No, there's not. Yeah, so this is what can fail. There's probably some way to figure that out. Or I guess we could always just download Steam CMD again, but an older version. So if I just run this -- help. Oh, hey, checking for available updates. App update. Installing, updating a Steam application on the local file system. That's not what I want. I don't think you can do that. Steam CMD update will automatically update and enter you into a Steam prompt. Anyways, Demi, curious what we're trying to do. Well, in general, so I'll try to rewind a bit. I'm making a game called Skeleseller, and today we're working on some of the release process for this. And in particular, there's a Steam tool called Steam CMD that lets you upload builds to Steam. The thing we're looking into is this can automatically update itself, and when it does, it doesn't actually run your own update that you tried to, or your upload that you tried to do. Install or update the app. How do we update the automating? I don't have a way of doing that. Install and automatically updating a game server. That's not what I want. Man. Also, how did no one complain about this, or this isn't in the FAQ or anything? Huh, strange. Is there an info or such command that we can always run to make sure it updates, even if we don't care about it? Maybe there is. The problem is I don't know what it takes to get this to update. So possibly just even running -- help will do it. It does say checking for available updates. So yeah, that might have been enough. I guess we can just run it with -- help and trust that it's gonna update itself. In fact, we should probably do that. Run Steam CMD with -- help at the beginning, just to make sure that it updates. Make sure we comment why we've done this. All right, so we're gonna move the tagging to happen at the end, because this can technically fail. Okay. So then we're going to try adding the new tag. And okay, sure, use starts with character. And then that's it. We've tagged this. So we're done. Yeah, sure thing, Wise Demic. I'm not necessarily looking for help, just to be clear. I mean, I don't mind chat chiming in. It's not like I'm like slamming my head against this process for 5 days or something. We're making pretty good progress. Okay, so we've got tagging. We now need these things. So ask to upload to Steam and ask to upload to itch. So itch should only get the demo for now. Steam could get either one. What did I write down for this? Possible nothing changed, in which case tagging would be necessary. At this point, it should run the export and upload. It chooses which depots. Maybe it asks to upload to itch and defaults to yes for the demo and no for anything else. Yeah, that'd be good. I think we can do that. Don't want our help. No, I sometimes do. Okay, so ask to upload to Steam. So what needs to happen for this? We need to pass in the build flavor. And how do we do uploads? Upload to Steam, run Steam CMD. Okay, so then we will need the logger in here too. Yeah, you got the day off, chat. Enjoy. All right, upload tools. So delete all that stuff. Delete pretty much everything here. Internal static void asks. Is it asked to upload to Steam? Yeah. Then we take in the logger and the flavor. Totally fine. Go look up how we're going to do this. So what is this going to say? Just, do you want to upload to Steam? And it's got like yes in parentheses again. Do we have any choice here? Yeah, I think it's just yes or no. I don't think there's like a what flavor do you want or something. So text prompt, run prompt example. Yeah, this is what I want here. Yes or yes. Yeah, there is no choice. The illusion of a choice. So this is a Boolean. Text prompt comes from Spectre. This is going to say, do you want to upload to Steam? Add true and false defaults to true. That's totally fine. And then we need to use this information. So if you choose not to, if not confirmation, then we can say skipping and return. And if you choose to, then we need to run Steam CMD, which I only had a direct reference to. We could take this in via an environment variable. Nothing happens unless you explicitly say yes. But almost every time I run this, I want to upload to Steam. Also, don't forget, even if I upload to Steam, it doesn't do anything on its own. I still need to open up Steam Guard. Actually, I need to open up 2 things, and I need to run some other steps. So it's always safe to upload to Steam. I could just choose not to do anything after that. Hey, Flare. All right, well, for now, I guess we can just hard code this anyway. But we need to replicate everything this was doing. What is this doing? Create and clean build directory. Unzipped build directory. And then unzip all the builds. So this is kind of funny. The way that Godot exports is it builds, and then it zips. And the way that Steam uploads work is that it takes unzipped stuff. So we need to do the Godot part and then unzip what we zipped, which I don't think exists anywhere as unzipped contents on my file system, and then upload the unzipped stuff. So that's pretty much what's happening here. We're making a temporary directory so that we can unzip all of our stuff into there so that we can run Steam CMD with the right folder structure that we have. So I got to replicate this stuff from C#. Hate writing PowerShell. I haven't written PowerShell in forever. All right. Well, this won't be fun, but it's also not going to be that hard. All right, let's close out a half these tabs that we have open here. Okay, so ask to upload to Steam. We're then going to call upload to Steam. And I guess this can be, well, this could be public if we want. Static void upload to Steam. Okay, so what do we have to do? To do, make some temporary directory, make a, not some, make a temporary directory, then unzip the builds to specific folders within. And then, what's the final step? Run Steam CMD. Steam CMD with the right VDF file. Yeah. I have to do it at work because, as we all know, backend developer just means there's no one else to do DevOps. Yeah. I just always use batch files, really. Although now I'm not on Windows anymore. All right, so make a temporary directory is something presumably C# has some thing for. Temporary directory. Get temp path. Returns the path of that. No, I want it to make one for me. Create temp subdirectory. Creates a uniquely named empty directory in the user's temporary. Yeah, that's exactly what I want. But then I want to delete it at the end of all of this. Is there a way to do that? Probably have to write that. Drat. Can I not have to worry about that? Because where we do this right now is in a well-known path. Upload to Steam has this Steam build input. Although maybe cleaning this up at the end is not a good idea. I want this to be a little bit more portable, even though I should be the only person to ever run this. But I've never went and inspected this stuff. And I guess if I ever needed to, I could inspect it just by taking the input zip files anyway. Yeah, so then let's make this thing, but how do I have it auto clean up? C# temporary directory that automatically cleans up. This exists in Java, I'm pretty sure. I'm actually kind of surprised it doesn't exist in C#. Or maybe Python has one, I'm not sure. File options that delete on close will cause it to be deleted when closed. Okay, well, I guess the other thing too is we could rely on the OS to eventually clean this up. I'm not sure where this is going to try creating this though. So let's try this out. You got to do it yourself. Okay, so create temp directory. We'll just do this in here. This should resolve. I need to reload this. Zipping the export is not default behavior, right? I thought it was. Maybe there's a way to say not to. Like I have it as .zip here. So maybe we could just not have .zip at the end. I probably wrote about this somewhere in my notes. Exporting zip. I never wrote about this. It might be possible. Honestly, I'm not super concerned about that. Even if we could just produce the files that we need, it's not a major performance problem to zip and then unzip and then probably rezip. We're only making one game here. Okay, so we're going to create it. This is the prefix. The prefix actually doesn't really matter, but I guess we could call this Skeleseller Steam. Yeah, that. All right, so this is going to create something and then return the directory info. Directory info, dir info equals that. Dir info has what? The path? No, it doesn't. What is it called? Full name. Okay, so that's what I want. So we're going to print that out. Console.writeLine. And then just exit. Throw new exception. Cool. Let's run that. Export project and export zip buttons. Yeah, then I probably could just not have it be a zip if I wanted to avoid that. Wait, export project does export a zip for me though. Then yeah, maybe it's just because I had the export path set like this. Yeah, like I said, there might be a way to do that. Seems too annoying. Yeah, it does seem a little annoying. And also this is inside of an OS based temp directory, so presumably the OS will eventually clean this up if it needs to. Hey Mixie. Has it gotten better as an IDE for C#? It's hard to say if it's gotten better because I haven't really used it too much since 2020. Unless, I mean, I started this project 14 months ago. So between 2020 and 14 months ago, I hadn't really used it. So I don't remember what it used to be like. But yeah, Visual Studio is probably still the best. But they sunset that on Mac, and I'm on Mac. So there's no real way to use Visual Studio and rely on it, at least for me. So I think VS Code is fine. I think Rider would probably be a good other option. All right, so I printed out this. Here's our directory that it made. And presumably this exists. Also, we need another hyphen here, I guess. So presumably this exists right now. So let's try changing into that. Yeah, it does. And then when we stop running the program, it doesn't go away, right? ls Skeleseller. No, yeah, it's still there. Okay. Okay, I see. Yeah. Yeah, maybe that's worth looking into eventually. I just don't think it's gonna be worth it. Also, I want to get this running and then probably never touch it again. It's already taken a little longer than I thought. Okay, so this will produce an empty directory. So in our ask to upload to Steam, also it is currently 10. If I really push it, I could go to probably noon, but I have a hard stop at 1 for sure. And I want to eat lunch. So I'm probably going to stop in a couple of hours. I never planned on streaming in the afternoon today, but I guess if I didn't have that hard stop, I might at least work until this is done. So make a temporary directory. We have that. That's finished. Now we need, we probably need to delete upload to Steam after this. I'll write the same thing. Figure out what we want to do with upload to steam.sh. We may not need it anymore. So we have our directory. It's guaranteed to be clean because it's brand new. We unzip all of the builds into that. So unzip build gets the build directory from Godot, which is game/out. We're going to have a whole bunch of directory massaging at the end of all of this stuff. And what do? We get that, we make sure it exists, and then we just unzip it. So how do you unzip something in C#? Unzip. Starting with .NET 4.5 and above, you can use .NET for it. Zip file.create from directory and extract to directory. Nice. That's exactly what I want. Okay, so we need to get the path to the zip files. So string path to build output. I'm going to hard code this for right now. It is Skeleseller game out, I believe. Get CD. We'll just paste that into here. But that should match what we have for this, right? Game out. Yes, it is. Okay. All right, so that's where the zip paths exist. We need all of the platforms to exist, but the platforms now have different names. What is a platform? Why do we use that? Because they output to a particular folder named after the OS. Why? Out/Mac, out/Win, out/Linux. Okay, because I apparently just typed that in the output path. All right, well, that's fine. So let's go get that. That is in platform, which is in export, I think. No, I didn't call it export. What did I call it? I don't know what I called it. All right, let's just search for enumeration platform. There it is. Okay, so then in here, Godot tools, I guess, we're going to make another thing. I'm going to say these need to match the not names, the export path that shows up. Export paths that show in there. Yeah. Hey, Tatman. What am I making? I'm making a game called Skeleseller, but for right now, what we're making is just some export scripts for it. So if you were to download the version that's on Steam, it's only the demo. There is no launch version. There is no way of playing a playtest version. And up until now, that was fine. All we were ever making was going into the demo. But now we are changing the direction here. So the demo is going to stay locked, and then the release version is going to get new content, which, by the way, is how pretty much all demos work, right? You get like one level, or you get, 2 characters or something. And then at some point, the release version of the game is going to have 100 levels and 20 characters. So yeah, at some point, we're going to freeze development on the demo, which we pretty much already said. And now that we're bifurcating this, we need a way of releasing a playtest version for playtesters. Hey, boy. Any incentive to update the demo bit? And I don't think so, but let me say this. Quality of life updates, UI updates, those sorts of things, yes, they'll be in the demo. I think it should represent what the full game is, but content updates, like challenge modes or whatever that I was talking about, I think no, those should only be in the launch, the full version. And actually, I want to go the opposite direction with this. I want to prune the demo some more. So right now we have, I think, 8 locations, 7 adventurers, 2 bosses. I'm just gonna make up a number, like 9 buildings or something, and a whole bunch of perks, maybe like 30 perks. I want to lower these numbers a bit. So I think, and maybe we just consider by playtime. The median playtime right now for the demo is 1 hour and 26 minutes. I think that's good, but I also think what this means is that probably there are going to be a bunch of people who are like, I played for 1 hour and a half. It was fun. I'm not going to buy the game now. And if we lowered that median playtime down to like 30 minutes, maybe, that it might push more people toward buying the game. So I'm still not totally sure what this is going to look like or what the ideal median playtime is. But I think 1 hour and 26 minutes is very generous and probably too generous. Okay, so we have, this is export paths. So Godot export paths. And this is simply the words Win Mac Linux. So that, and that. And then we call this export path. Depends how excited people are for the rest of the content. Yeah, exactly. And there are probably games out there where someone could play for 10 hours and still want to buy the full game. But I imagine it's not very common. In fact, actually, I wonder if there'd be any game that would still be monetarily viable at that point. So there's a huge difference between 0 minutes and 10 hours. Like where in that scale works best for most games. And I think most people would say it's probably about 30 minutes. And even then, it depends on the content of the game. Apparently, for party games, that number is a little bit lower. So it might be something like 15 minutes. Because I think people are like, okay, it looks fun. It looks like it's multiplayer. Now I'll go buy it and play with my friends. So yeah, depends on the genre. Depends on how much content you have. Depends on the replayability of the game. All right, so now back over to, where is this? This is upload to Steam. So we have this. We need to get all of the different platforms that we have. So for each platform in, we should have a get all platforms or something, although it's every enumeration value. And we have enum functions with get valid values. And it just checks to see if one is not the default. But I guess in this case, we can just get all of the values because we know they're fine. Dot get values platform. And if we're going to do this, then I should do this everywhere the same way. Hopefully that works. Hey, Paj. That's my name, Paj. Don't wear it out. Hey, Boomer. Most of Next Fest demos, I decided free about 15 to 20 minutes. I'm not sure what you meant to say, but I'm guessing you played for about 15 to 20 minutes. I think that's a good amount of time to figure out, do you want to wishlist the game? The other thing too is I think everyone probably has a slightly different buying process. Some people just will buy the game, but some people will play the demo and then buy the game. And some people might play the demo and then just wishlist it. And then in the future, make one of these other decisions. Maybe they play the demo again, but they play it more completely, or they just buy the game, or they remove it from their wish list. Not free, typo to wish list. Oh, I see. Decided to wish list about 15 and 20. Okay, never mind. I misunderstood. To make the demo the full game, which I had to put in the quarter every 20 minutes, or the UI slowly degrades. There was a game a long time ago which had some sort of penalty in the game was delete a file on your file system. I don't know if this was real or if people actually liked this or played this game. I always think of that sort of thing as like what kind of damage would it do? What's the one worst file you could delete on someone's operating system that isn't guaranteed to be on everyone's operating system? Like, do people store passwords.txt or something? I guess you might have a password database that's local. Often wait for a sale. Yeah, I think a lot of people do that. One more option to initialize values in a dictionary. An example, code block, check students to dictionary. Might be a little more friendly. There is a, yeah, we use this in Skeleseller in some places. Actually don't really mind too much one way or the other here. Because in this case, it's readable. I think that's all I really care about. And I don't think any of the dictionaries, at least in this code, are going to not be at the point where they're readable. But I think we do this for, we don't do it here, all item data. Yeah, we do it for items, for example. And I think this makes it a little bit more readable for items. Okay, back to this. So we go through each platform. We need to get the export path, which is the platform's export path. And now unzip the build. That is, we need to make sure that the build exists first. To do, make sure the zip path exists. So the export path is purely just a folder name. So in order to form the full folder name, we need like a zip path equals path.combine this. But then we need more to it than that. Oh, and these need to exist inside of our temp directory? No, unzipping will handle that. So the zip path is just $1. What's $2? The zip name, oh God, it changes per platform. Oh man, really? Okay, so on Mac it's capital S and on the other ones is lowercase. I'm not totally sure what my reason was for doing that. But all right. Let's do that. Yuck. Do we set this in here or does it figure this out for us? We do set it in here. And I guess we could just change this to be max slash and then the name and then figure out from the path what the name is. Let's go take a look at C# Playground and figure that out really fast. There should be a way to do this. All right, so C# get file name from path. Yeah, so something like this. I want to just paste this here. So what we have as our file path is mac/skeleseller.zip. And then we need to import path. Where's that come from? System. System.io. It didn't find it still? Oh, no, it did. Okay, so we run this. And yeah, we get the file name. And then we should be able to get the folder name. Does this have autocomplete? It does. Oh, perfect. Okay, so get directory name. File path. Dir name. All right, I'm not going to rename. Let's just delete that. So this should be Mac. Perfect. Okay, so then we don't need to worry about that. We can just put this here. So export paths skeleseller.zip, and then these are the lowercase version. Good. Not sure if you looked at other idle lights like Village Tale to see if their UI or UX things to update or feedback those early games have received. Will add to my list. Okay. Yeah, I think it was consistency with the system. So on Mac, you expect capitalized zip and app names. I don't know. Maybe it's that. Maybe it's not that. All right, so now this is the export path. This is all going to work just fine. We get this now from upload tools. So this export path is a combination of a folder and a zip name. So we're going to say export dir name equals path.getDirectory name. There should be no way for that to fail. And then string zip file name is that. Oh, okay, so this is technically necessary. So couldn't we just throw an exception? Okay. Currently 88 degrees. Oh no. Need an AC repairman. So make sure the zip path exists. So the full zip path is going to be this. That's fine. So now make sure it exists. If it doesn't exist, just say it doesn't exist. And then we need to unzip to the right location. The location we're unzipping to is the temporary directory that we have. So this is going to be our dir info, temp dir info, I guess. Temp dir info. And we want the full name. So unzipping is done via system.io.compression.zip file. So I guess we just type zip file dot unzip. Oh, extract. What is the rest of this doing? Okay, delete that. Find this. Good. So what is it taking? The source, the destination, and whether or not to overwrite them. We shouldn't need to overwrite because we should have made a new directory here. But our zip path is correct. This is correct. Yeah, so this should all be good. And then run steam cmd with the right VDF, which is this. So we got to run that now, but with the right VDF. Oh, man. All right. Well, like I said, it's not that this is hard to do. It's that it's annoying to do. So we need to go find where I run this. Copy all of this stuff. Put this here. Okay, so our command is going to be the Steam executable. Well, it's not Steam, it's Steam CMD executable, which we're just going to hard code for right now to this. Then our arguments for this are going to be, just delete all this stuff. It should know what to fill in here. Login, extonomous, run app build. Then we need the path to the VDF file. Where even is that? FFVDF. So we want either this one. This is the demo one. Demo VDF equals. Or the playtest one. And that's this. Oh my goodness. Okay, then we get, based on the build flavor, we're gonna get one of those things. So string path to VDF equals flavors switch. Yeah, that's what I want. All right. And then plus quit at the end. Yeah. Oh, okay. So the working directory could technically be wherever. You can set that to null. So if the exit code is not 0, then we say that the thing failed to upload to Steam. Exit code Otherwise, successfully uploaded to Steam. Any thoughts on the vibe coding phase going on right now? Not really. I want to give it a shot at some point. Although I guess really for tooling like this, I am letting AI fill in chunks of this stuff and it is helping me out a lot. There's a lot of mechanical things that there's no algorithmic complexity to something, and it would have just been a Stack Overflow search anyway. And I find this sort of thing a lot unless you deal with this all the time. So for example, if you're like Python, how to read a file. I'm sure I've read a file from Python, but could I tell you off the top of my head how to do that or what APIs to call or what are the gotchas for that? No. Is this something that's going to be difficult or unique or needs to be creative? No. So just have AI do it for you. I think it's fine. I mean, that's one part of vibe coding. The other part of vibe coding is doing that for even the creative and complex stuff. That, like I said, I want to give it a shot and see what the pitfalls are. Because I've heard it's a lot of prompt engineering. All right, so this might work. Oh, you know what we can't do? We don't have this approved on Steam. Let me go take a look really fast. I think I would have gotten an email if they'd approved it. Because I only did this yesterday. Yeah, store page not live. Does it say waiting on review? Yeah. Yeah, so this is what we did yesterday. I'll show a picture of this. I didn't even know there was a feature for playtesting on Steam. So we have 2 Steam pages live right now. We have this one, which is 3226. Then if you click the demo, it changes to 3445. And now we need a playtest version as well. So I think it's pretty obvious to people what the difference between the full version and the demo is. But the playtest version is a feature where you have sort of 2 modes of operation. You have one where it's just you have a request access button. So imagine some new AAA game, maybe whatever, Overwatch 3 gets launched and they have just a public way of requesting access. Or you give out keys to individuals. So this is what I plan to do. And the people who are in the Skeleseller Discord could access the game and not share it with other people because it's not just a public thing and it's not a password protected branch. But in order to get this playtest app, you need to submit a review to Valve, and all they're going to do is look at, are your pictures okay? So it should complete somewhat soon, but until then we can't actually upload anything. Or I guess maybe we could upload something, but we can't test it because there's no way to download that thing. Just rewrites features already in the game. Maybe it's making a better Factorio. Hang on, knowledge. Okay, so we're done with this. We haven't done the upload to itch part of this yet. I'm gonna wait on that. Although, is that hard to do? We run some butler commands. Yeah, I guess it's not that hard to do. And we just need to make sure the butler is installed. I think we'll hold off on that. So I'd like to test this out. Do we just let the whole thing run? Oh, man. I'll leave this part commented out, I guess. To do code this. Yeah, let's run it. We can't run it with this stuff, though. We can't have any of the delete me stuff in here at all. We need to clean up all of that. Ugh. Yeah, so let's go clean it all up then. So export platform, we need to figure out, I guess our working directory would have been set when we do this because of launch.json. And it's going to be set to, where's the, oh, workspace folder, which is the root level, which is above game. Oh, this is so difficult. So I guess we set this to null and then we just set this to game. Probably want to make a constant out of this. A constant out of this. Okay. Okay, so 1 down, 5 to go, 6 to go. So now we got to figure out what these are. This is inside the game folder. Export presets, yeah. And again, we want there to be a constant for that. So I guess let's just say const string export presets path is actually going to be game slash to do put this somewhere central and use the constant for game. All right, so now this gets replaced and this gets replaced. So that's 2 of those gone. Now we have 4 more of these left. So lookup version. This can be done anywhere. So this is probably fine as is. It's just got to be in the Git repo, which means the working directory needs to be launched from the Git repo. This, same thing. Easy. This is... We never checked the exit code for this. We definitely should. Whoops. All right, exit code and that. So if exit code is not 0, fail to create tag. Cool. This can be set to null. And then what's this one? Project.godot. This is inside of the game folder, right? Yes, it is. To do make a constant out of this stuff. Oh, man. Okay. I think we're ready to test this. So it's going to do everything. All right, let's try it out. I'm going to press F5. So we're going to treat this just like I'm actually doing the launch. I want to launch the demo. Oh, I want to launch the demo, so we pick that. And then it's got a bunch of spammy output. We got to fix that. But it finds that the current version is 0.82 demo. And it asks what I want the new version to be. So let's have it be... Oh, wait. It already ran something. Oh, well, whoops. Did I press enter twice? I might have. Well, then it's going to fail to tag this at the end. I wanted to test to see if the tag worked too. Oh, it looks like it's just frozen here. Oh, no, it's working. Successfully exported to Mac OS. Okay, well, now it's going to export to Windows and then to Linux. So expect this to take a decent chunk of time. But we do need to cut down on the spamminess of this program. So while this is running, let's write that down. Cut down on the spamminess and make it more helpful in its output. All right, what's it doing? Invalid export preset name, Windows. The following presets were detected in this project's exports.cfg. Windows desktop, what? Where'd the word desktop come from? Or where, what? Hold on a second. Where's that coming from? Desktop is probably what that should be. Yes, it is. Reload from disk. This is going to be the modified thing here to have dash demo in it. That's fine. Okay, so then it seems to me like desktop did not get put in somewhere. Invalid export preset name. Invalid export. That doesn't sound good. What was it even trying to do? Failed to export for platform Windows. Failed to export for platform Windows. Platform.platform name. What is that doing there? Was that always what we used? Yeah, Windows desktop. That's what I did right here. Windows desktop. Maybe. Do you need to quote it? I don't think so. I would assume since this is a list of strings that they escape this, but I might need to quote it. It does say that it only found Windows. So yeah, maybe. Because I don't see anything else wrong with this. Okay. Well, then let's do that. Oh yeah, just check the command. Yeah, it is a problem, I think. Okay, good call. I'll give out some points. Well, this is our abstraction. Oh, okay. Didn't realize that. All right, so then we want to run this again. Fine, let's just run it again. I was going to say we have to go through all the export time again too, but yeah, sure. We'll have to do that. All right, so this time I'm going to make sure I'm only pressing enter once. There, I definitely press it once. Now we're going to update this to 0.8.3. So now it says new version you typed is 0.8.3 demo. It runs a command. All right, now we wait. But yeah, this has been going pretty well. We made good progress. Once this tool is in place, it should make it really easy to manage this stuff. Then the next step, the next high level step after all of this is to make it so that we actually have a playtest version to release. So we're probably going to need to balance the new adventures. And then we should probably try publishing another demo version too. Because what's the worst that could happen? I publish the 3 new adventures in the demo. People notice. I take it back. People don't notice. Yeah, there are a bunch of small changes I could make that'll improve the demo slightly. Probably add the quotes in run process so it applies always. Assuming quotes would be allowed for all of these things. Like we shouldn't be adding it for dash dash path. I think putting quotes around that would be bad. All right, like I said, I'm just waiting for this to be finished. This part should be successful. I don't think it'll fail to publish to Linux or something. But then after this, it's gonna so it's gonna ask me, do you want to upload to Steam? So we're gonna just press enter here. And it fails to extract the file. Skeleseller.pck already exists? What? Okay, well, first of all, this is wrong. What platform is this? This is presumably not the first platform. Local variables and arguments are not available in exception call stack frames. To obtain these, configure the debugger to stop when the exception is thrown and rerun the scenario. Why is that not already the case? Is there like a... Well, that's too bad. Yeah, I'm exporting them all to a single directory right now. I need to stop that. I just want to make sure that that was the case, because here, the way we would confirm this is to see, are we on the second platform? But I never printed out what the platform is. But I guess we have the zip path. No, but the zip path is not the problem here. Yeah, it's just this is the problem. Okay. Yeah, well, we need to fix that then. So this, instead of extracting the directory, this is always trying to extract to the root directory. We want to extract to string unzip path is the export dirty. It's not that. It's export paths directory name. It's this. Yeah, it is export dir name. Okay, then never mind. That's correct. All right, so we export to there. Oh, wow, the AI just found a problem with this too. Nice. I apparently had copy pasted everything. Okay, so now let's skip ahead to what we just did. So I don't need to run all the export stuff again. So instead of doing export all platforms, we'll just get rid of that and run this. And it should just go right to uploading to Steam after picking the version information. So we say yes to demo. We say 0.8.3 here. Now we upload to Steam. Using the demo thing, that's good. And then it tagged everything. I think it worked. So now let's go take a look at this. Did it tag it correctly? Git log -1. Tag 083 demo, and all the other tags are there too. So we probably need to write a note to clean up the tags on this before checking in. I was testing using that commit. All right, so how do we know that this works? We go to the builds on Steam, which is this page. No, this page. I gotta do this off screen. Oh, I don't think there's any password protected branches anymore, are there? I should just delete that. Yeah, I'll just click disable on here. Disable app branch alpha test. Yes. Wait, no, is that a mistake? Aren't we uploading the alpha test? Okay, I don't know. But I see that it's got an upload June 24th, 10:44. So that is exactly 1 minute ago. So it looks like it worked. And it's got a description of demo build. So we should really test this with a playtest thing now too. Although I guess this is going to change. Oh, drat. Because we need the playtest ID. Where is that? Playtest underscore this. Yeah. So if I go to that URL, so we take this and plug in this number, and then I go to this off screen. Okay, I don't think there's anything private here. Oh, yes, there is. Okay, I'm glad I didn't show that. Okay. Don't show that on stream since password show in plain text. And there is... Yeah, I'll just leave it at that. I guess that's enough reason to not show this. All right, but anyway, we have the build from yesterday. So I kind of want to try and see if this thing works too, if we export the playtest version. And then we need to try the end-to-end of all of this. But yeah, things are looking pretty good. All right. So we have a couple of options now. I could do all of this stuff, but I don't think I want to do that. I didn't want to push it with this stream. Let me fill out the journal before I forget. I didn't want to push it too much. It's been 2 hours and 20 minutes. I have not been taking a break. Are you publishing this process somewhere? As in, so that other people can look at how I did this? I wasn't planning on doing that. Also, I think this is pretty straightforward. This is like a C# wrapper around a bunch of like manual commands that you would do. So in general, everyone's going to have the same process of build their game and then upload it to a service somewhere. And the way that this looks for us is that we have like different flavors of the game now, which most people would probably have too, like a demo or release version. But in general, you're going to have these steps somehow. So Godot is doing the export process, and then we have some like version information. We have Git tagging in there. We have uploading it to Steam and to itch, although we don't have the itch part yet. Well, we have a non-C# way of doing it right now. All right, so got to ReleaseTool to the point where I can actually upload to Steam. And then it should give instructions on what to do after that. It should codify all the release instructions. In fact, I should write that down. We should put the release instructions right into the output, e.g. to tell you to write patch notes. We can eventually try to automate that process. This is something that I don't think I can do programmatically using VS Code. I have Copilot, and if I gave Copilot a bunch of strings, you know, imagine I had something like fix bug, foo, add feature, bar, and then I said write patch notes based on the above. It could probably do that, but I don't think I can do this programmatically. I'm not subscribed to any sort of API version of an AI, but maybe there's a way. Anyway, I kind of like writing the patch notes myself, but maybe that's an excuse. Gemini's API isn't bad, but presumably it's paid, right? Gemini pricing, Google AI plans and features. Yeah, I think it's $20 a month. I don't know the free cap. I guess the other thing I could consider is like Chat GPT. I could always, anyway, it doesn't matter. I don't know if I want to do AI patch notes, but if I did, I could always just output. I could output the lines and the prompt and any context, and then just copy paste it into an AI that I don't have programmatic access to. Yeah. Hey, Seshamara. All right. So I have fixed to do items. I have a bunch of things I need to do. I still haven't coded that. And then we got to add in the cheat menu for playtesters. Okay. So this part's done. 3 new adventures. Well, we haven't finished balancing them, I guess. Maybe we should do that tomorrow. I want to get to the point where we're working toward publishing a playtest version. Work toward publishing a playtest version for people. I want to start hardening this process. And that's what we've started doing here too. So yeah, finishing that up makes sense. And then if there's time after that, this means finishing ReleaseTool, balancing adventurers, and what else? I think that's it. Yeah, and posting to Discord. So maybe I should reach out to people today over Discord. But we can't do that yet because of this. Add some debug features. I have that there. Try granting someone a playtest key. Yeah, we can't do this until Valve approves the app. Message everyone on Discord asking if they're interested. Yeah. So I think messaging someone to be like, hey, are you interested? And then be like, I'll get back to you in a few days. I should probably just wait a few days. So ideally, Valve approves it today or tomorrow, and I can start that on Thursday, I guess. That's probably fine. Yeah. All right. Well, I have quite the to-do list for the rest of the day. So here's what I'm going to do. We're going to go raid somebody. This person might be streaming Skeleseller at some point, but they are not online now. I think their schedule is such that they start like way in the evening. Hey, Scoreline. It's going well. Let's see if anyone's streaming Skeleseller. I mean, I doubt it. No. Dead game? Who is that? What? I don't know what this is, but I want to go watch this person's video. Dead game. All right, let me write that down. That's their whole stream for 5 hours was titled Dead Game, so I don't think they were talking about Skeleseller for that. I think they said tomorrow. Yeah. Okay, so no one's streaming Skeleseller. Let's go find someone else to raid then. A couple of things I want to point out. One is the game is available on Steam. We're pretty happy with the demo. There are some things that can be improved, but in general, it's a good idea of what the game is like. So if anyone wants to try that or share it with their friends, that always helps. Oh, I gotta close these things. Those are the private tabs I'm not supposed to be showing. Yeah, anyway, there's a download button there. And then also in the today command, which is the last link before the Steam link, there's a YouTube video. I've been reaching out to YouTubers to cover the game, and Missy Spooks is the first person that responded, and she made a video and she really liked the game. So I want to support her as much as I can. This is probably the final day I'll keep kind of advertising her video, but it is a good thing to watch. I liked it a lot. So I'll leave that there too. Okay, who we rating? Okay, I'm gonna raid Yuki. I don't get to raid her too frequently, and almost always it's late for her. I think she's probably like 8 hours ahead of me or something. So let's go raid her. I've actually only ever heard her whisper pretty much as a result of it always being late for her. Thank you all for watching. I'll leave the Discord link too if you want. I'll be back online tomorrow. It'll be a full stream tomorrow. Today was just a morning one. That's all that was planned. Have a good rest of your day. Bye, everybody.